All right, we're back with the NFC North this week. Keep it locked in. This is the Nickel and Dime Show. All right, we're back. Sean, what's up, man?
What's going on, bro? How you doing?
Good. How you doing? Oh, I'm liking the ECU hat.
Yeah, skulls on skulls on skulls, man.
Yeah,
Pirates. You know what I'm saying? Through and through.
You do love some pirate-themed teams here, don't you?
Yeah, man, I love it. It's a way of life. You know what I
gotcha.
mean? It's just a way of life, and that's I think that's what I'm a stick to. So
Okay,
you know.
Okay. Well, that leads into our first housekeeping note. College football is falling apart right before our very eyes, man. Pac-12 is out. Big Ten is out.
Yeah, and I really think that the ACC and the SEC are going to try to push through, man. But
too much money to be lost.
It is, and a lot of those guys, you know, in the South, football is king.
Oh yeah. What else are you going to do on Saturdays?
Nothing. So I really think that they're going to try to push through, but the rest of the Power Five is out, and a lot of the smaller conferences too. And I honestly can say that I really kind of saw it coming because there's just too much liability at stake.
I mean, they're kids. My wife made a very good point earlier. They're not getting paid. Exactly.
They're not getting paid. Yeah. So I mean,
wink.
Can you imagine?
They're not getting paid.
You're right. Yeah. Wink, wink. Big wink. Can you just imagine the liability or the lawsuits that would come if positive tests started to pile up? You know what I mean?
Man, you think you've seen some Karens so far get their baby sick?
I mean, peak Karen. That's peak Karen right there.
Well, let me put it in your court real quick. If you were a Trevor Lawrence or a top prospect, would you play this year or would you get ready? Like if you were given the option, like your team's playing, but you can opt out. Would you go ahead and get ready for the draft, or would you be like, I'm playing another year?
I almost think for myself, I would have to. It's just too much money to be lost. Like, you know, if a Trevor Lawrence is there, like using him as an example, say he does play and he gets hurt, him guaranteeing himself that he's either going number one or even is low, I say low quotation air quotes, but like 15th, that's a big difference in money, you know what I mean? And like I don't know what his situation's like, but for myself, I would probably opt out, get my body healthy, mature,
and just
take a year off and just destroy the combine, cement what everybody already knows about you, and then dominate, you know, when I get to the league. And it leaves a little bit of intrigue there because everything he's already done or those top prospects will have done is already on tape, solidifying them and not putting any more bad tape out there, which I think could be a very, very big positive. You know what I mean?
I got you. Speaking of putting bad out there, our guy, Geis.
Darius Geis is not so nice.
Arrested and released.
Arrested and released.
Both of those things suck, but both of them at the same time.
He did say he's going to fight the charges, so I am a person who... Now, that is egregious, man, but innocent until proven guilty. Ron Rivera kicking him out immediately, really establishing a culture with a character guy
Ron
coming
don't play
into the league
games,
anyway.
Man.
Nah, he don't. He doesn't play games. So putting the team on notice that even if you're a second-round pick, you can, get out of here. You can get cut.
I mean, that was their guy. You know what I mean? Yes, it helps that you got Adrian Peterson still on the team, but that was going to be number one. That was RB1. You know?
He was going to be number one, and then they still have a good running back stable without him, which I think was a little bit easier of a transition for them, being able to let him go. Yeah. But other than that, man, I mean, I wish him the best. I hope that he didn't do it, but time will tell, and the courts and the affidavits will get to the public eye, and we'll know soon enough.
We'll get to the bottom of this. Another departure, Deion Sanders, Neon Deion, leaving the NFL Network. He's been there. He's been one of the main guys on that network.
He really has, and a lot of spinoff shows for him too, because he's a big personality. You know what I mean? Yeah. So
he's like the Shaq of the NFL
for sure. And the thing about it is, I mean, we all know Prime, right? We all know Prime, and we know what he's about. They asked this man to take a pay cut, and that's why
You know, prime time will take a pay cut.
So they already knew what it was. Now, if you were asking him to take a pay cut in hopes that he would say no, so you could let him go, then you got what you wanted. But like, Prime ain't taking no pay cut.
Nah,
man.
and you know he didn't hold his tongue on the way out either.
Nah,
I would hate to catch that earful.
And he's gonna be right back on either ESPN or Fox Sports tomorrow.
Yeah. Someone's talking to him right now to come back.
Right, yeah, and he's not hurting for anything. I mean, Super Bowl champ, Hall of Famer, TV personality. I mean, that's the trifecta. So he'll be snatched up real quick.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, he's too good for TV to not be on TV.
Yeah, exactly. So, what about? I saw Lamar Miller got picked up, man.
Yeah. We've been talking about how depleted the Patriots are. They finally go pick somebody up.
Yeah, they needed to add. They probably need to add a couple more pieces, though. I think they'll be okay. Doubt. Since they have Belichick. But
Belichick's probably recruiting someone from a Lowe's hardware store as we speak to be like the next great fullback that's just going to dominate everything.
It's just a Hall of Famer in the waiting, man. He's just got to clear waivers, and then he'll be right on the field for them. But that's the thing about Belichick. He just knows where to find guys. And this is another thing like we were talking about a couple of shows ago with Cam Newton, where it's a guy who's sitting out there forever, and then Belichick decides to pick him up, and like all the rest of the GMs are like, man, what did I miss? Right, yeah. So it's more of that. So I think Lamar Miller will definitely do some work with him.
I was about to say, like, can he get back to those good years he had in Houston?
I think so. I'm not sure how old he is, but he hasn't been utilized like he was in Houston since then as well. I mean, maybe a little bit in Miami, but that didn't really work out. But I think he can get back, especially put in the right situation, which he should be in.
Yeah. It doesn't get more right than being on the Patriots.
Well, yeah, exactly. And then like the way that they probably use him and James White, I can see a really good tandem coming from that. You know what I mean?
No doubt. Yeah. Well, a little side note I forgot to mention, the only positive that could happen from no college football on Saturdays is NFL on Saturdays. So I'm thinking we're gonna get football on Saturday either way.
Yeah, I love it, man, because like how many years and times like have we talked about, or like people, the John Everyman in bars like wish that they didn't have to go to work after a nice big day of football.
Monday mornings are rough.
You know what I'm saying? So get your hangovers cured on Sunday, where there might be even more football. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Some
so
food
we
on
get
Saturday. Take it easy.
Yep. Saturday and Sunday football. It couldn't be better for me, man. So I hope that is part of the fallout from them potentially canceling these college football seasons.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into it, man. We got the NFC North today. These are some interesting teams. I got to start off with the defending division champs. Right. I don't know how they did it last year, but the Green Bay Packers.
I literally had to watch their highlights of their season, because you just look at the record and then you look at the problems that they had even during the season, and somehow they still went 13-3.
I don't know, man.
It just happened, and which a big part of that was the defense, which we'll get to in a minute. But I mean, we gotta start at the top, man.
I mean, their big problem, you got to start with the draft. A certain superstar was not too pleased.
Nah, and I mean, he's not too pleased. Aaron Rodgers seems to hate people, and people hate Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
But on the football
Aaron
field,
Rodgers, man. I don't know why. I think his villain persona is half the reason I like him, but I don't know.
Yeah. I'm
that man's family hates him. You know,
right?
I love
it. I mean, but if that's what it takes to be great, he proved it.
I'm sure. I mean, Jordan didn't keep a lot of people around, so whatever.
Exactly. So Jordan Love, man, like how did you feel? Did you see it coming? How did you feel when the pick was announced when we were watching the draft?
That was a blind. I did not think they'd go after. I thought Jordan Love would go in the first round. I didn't think he'd be wearing a Packers uniform.
Not at all.
I don't think the kid's going to be an NFL quarterback.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
I think he was not prepared in college. I mean, he played some terrible competition last year and did not do that great. Like, he had a great, what was it, junior year?
Junior year, yeah.
But I just don't. I'm not a Jordan Love believer. If he comes out, I mean, you've seen me before. I've eaten.
We'll admit you're wrong for sure.
But as it stands right now, I do not see Jordan Love being the next great Green Bay Packer quarterback. Nah. I mean, Favre, Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love. Mm-hmm. I don't think
it would be a stretch, so. Right? It would be a stretch. He's not really in that mode. I know a lot of guys, especially the coach, who said that he saw a talent there and had to take him. But I'm with you, man. I don't really see him being that guy. No. But we could be wrong,
right?
Especially at the quarterback position. But I'm with you again. Completely blindsided. Like, we saw the fall and just the scenario. How does the scenario repeat itself? The same scenario where Aaron Rodgers got drafted happens to him.
I think that's why he was a little upset about it, but at the same time,
he didn't think it'd come full circle like that. Okay. I mean, not at all.
Yeah, I mean, because he can't be mad, That's the whole reason he's in the league.
Exactly. So, sits behind. I mean, it's basically Aaron Rodgers reincarnated, but I don't think he'll be anywhere near as good of a prospect. God, no. But
I am excited about their second-round pick, though.
Yes, I am.
I think he dropped a little bit because, the whole too much wear on the tires. Like, he did get ran to death in college. Like, Boston College offense was him.
Have you seen his legs? Yeah, like AJ Dillon, man. AJ Dillon, yeah. Him and Saquon, best quads in the league. But I do like AJ Dillon. Yeah. He was a guy who I wanted him to come to Tampa if it was feasible, right? Because he is just a old school plunge,
put his head down and run.
Put his head down, run the ball, and he'll mess you up, man. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think he made a lot of terrible Boston College teams mediocre.
Yeah. Yeah, so I really like that, especially, which we'll get to in a minute, but that running back tandem, man.
God, they can throw everybody at you.
Yes, and Aaron Jones, which I'll touch on in a minute, but I mean, geez, AJ Dillon will be a great number 2 to Aaron Jones. So for sure.
But by the way, check out our Instagram page. We got a post up now. Which NFC North running back you would like to have on your team? So make sure you go. Check that out at nickel_dime football. Put your vote in. Let us know who you would rather
do that. And they have a lot of interesting backs in the NFC North too. You know what I mean? So I think that question is a very good one.
But, getting back to this draft, how do you feel? Sure. Do you know anything about this tight end from Cincinnati?
The tight end from Cincinnati, not too much. I do know that
you don't really think about Cincinnati football in college. No, you know what I mean?
Not necessarily. I mean, especially for quite some time, but they are getting Jay Sternberger back from injury, their former 3rd-round pick, who only played in 6 games that did not do much of anything. So I think they're looking for that tight end group to one, to get a lot younger now that they're getting him back, and 2, to kind of see what they do. But it'll be kind of interesting to see what they say. I do like that they came back and really started to trying to rebuild that O-line.
You got to, because I mean,
in the 6th and the 7th round,
half of the problem the last few years is Aaron Rodgers can't sit in the pocket.
Yeah, and that's another thing I'm going to touch on with this offense. Oh, we giving a lot of nuggets right now, but I really I do like John Runyon, pedigree guy. Dad was in the league as well.
Yeah. A lot of big name schools in this.
Yeah, a lot of big name schools. I mean, kind of getting into their offense. I guess we'll kind of go ahead and move into it.
Good. Aaron Rodgers, what does he got?
So even in a down year for Rodgers, right? He still threw for 4,000 yards, 26 TDs, and only 4 picks. Like Rodgers gonna Rodgers. Yeah, Rodgers
How
gonna
hard
Rodgers.
Is that? Like, I couldn't imagine I mean, as a Panthers fan, I can't imagine a quarterback only throwing 4 picks.
Not me neither. That would be. I mean, it's like Jesus came down from and just blessed, the football gods himself with just not throwing picks. But I love that he was still able to be very productive, even with that receiving core really not living up to not helping him out at all.
No.
Now when I was watching them though, when I was watching their highlights in their season. A lot of they love the play action, the rollout, the bootleg. A lot of big plays came from that. A ton of big plays.
Yeah. I mean, they got Matt LaFleur.
Yeah. Put an asterisk on that man's name, man. I don't really know how to pronounce it either, but
I just love.
It rolls off the tongue so nice.
Yeah, we've been watching that show Tag on Fox with the Watt brothers.
Okay. Yeah.
And there's a parkour guy on there that's one of the taggers, and his name's LaFleur. So I just love being like LaFleur.
Yeah. I weirdly enough, man, I love those like cheesy summer game shows that come on.
Floor is Lava on
TV.
Netflix. Check it out.
Floor is Lava.
Goat
Show. We've been playing it for 30 years. You know what I'm saying? Like still. I played it with my daughter. Like weirdly enough, man, that's how I know people are watching. Is because like I played Floor's Lava with my daughter. She's 3, trying to introduce her to it. Literally like 2 days later, Floor's Lava showed up on my Netflix, and I'm like,
they're listening.
The algorithms, man.
They're listening.
It's they're listening, man. But
the front office is not listening to Aaron Rodgers because, like you said, man, this wide receiver core, man, suspect.
Right. They're very suspect. Now they did some good things, man, but there was no consistency at all. You know, Lazard he's on record this offseason saying like he's ready to take that next step. Valdez-Scantling didn't do much, but his average, like he's a deep field
threat. He played every game.
Yeah, and he played every game.
Said, you know, like
that's what I'm saying.
I love still Devontae Adams played 12 games last year and still led the team in yards by 500.
Yeah, and still did not top 1,000 yards. Yeah. So that's
only
one
had
thing.
5 touchdowns. That was surprising to me.
It was surprising to me, especially like he's got the whole wide receiver core as a whole. They have to step up. Like they have to step up. Sure. And now people
who's going to be that guy? That's what I'm wondering.
It's got to be Adams. It's got to be Devontae Adams, man. And the thing is okay. So this offseason, I've seen a lot of people try to crown Devontae Adams, and listen, I can't do it. Now he's a great receiver, but if you're elite in my book, top 1,000 yards, man. You've only done that once in your career.
Oh wow, I didn't know he was only at one time.
Right, exactly.
Okay. That's a big shock because you're right. He does have that big
that cachet.
Yeah, everyone loves him.
Yeah, but he scores touchdowns. Like you can't take that away from him. He is a guy who scores touchdowns. But if you are elite, you must consistently top 1,000 yards, and that goes for the rest of the receivers too, man. I mean, you are in the last years of arguably the best quarterback of all time. You know, right. However you want to look at that metric, sure. Right? Yeah, however you want to look at that. So don't waste them. Like you have a chance to cement yourself as an upper echelon receiver when you have that kind of quarterback play.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
I'm not going to lie, I was kind of excited about Devin Funchess playing with him, but as we know, Devin has opted out. So I was a little bummed to hear about that.
Yeah, he's done. And he had it. I mean, him coming in there probably would have easily been their number 2 receiver, but he opted out. So
because he's got hands. Like he can't do much of the other things, but he can catch the ball.
So that's one thing that I will say, getting back to the quarterback position, you know, the knocks at the door for Aaron Rodgers will definitely wait a year because we don't have a preseason, so Jordan Love won't get to showcase whatever he's going to do.
That does help out. That helps out.
That does, right. So you know they would want to run with that. If he throws, you know, a couple touchdowns in the preseason or whatever it is, you know the media is going to run with that.
Oh, no doubt.
Crazy, like already calling for him, especially if you want to be a troll.
And then it could go on the complete opposite way if he has terrible showings in the preseason.
Exactly.
Then the front office is under even more fire because they got this mediocre quarterback instead of weapons.
Yeah, and they saved themselves a lot of press, negative or positive, with that. But let's talk about these running backs, man. Aaron Jones,
the 3-headed monster, man.
Yeah.
Because I'm a Jamal Williams fan.
I am a Jamal Williams
fan. With Aaron Jones hurt, you know.
Yeah, and he was somebody that I picked up and dropped off.
Oh, no doubt. When I needed a spot, he was one of the first guys I tried to pick up.
Yeah, and Aaron Jones definitely cemented himself, or they still haven't kind of paid him. They don't know what to do with him, but 16 touchdowns. 16 touchdowns, added 3 more in the passing game, right? So he is a pass-catching back. Yep. He can score on the ground, obviously, and be your number 1 back. So with him, and I honestly think they were a little down on Jamal Williams, but I think A.J. Dillon surpasses him. Okay. As especially like because Drew, I mean they're playing in the frozen tundra, man. So come November, December,
you got to.
He's going to be like a human ice ball.
Oh God,
you're
not going to be able
defenses.
To tackle him.
Nah, exactly. So not with those tree trunks. So
I will say though, like. Jamal Williams just wasn't given the touches. Like his average is right up there with Aaron Jones. They both averaged 4.6 and 4.3 yards per carry, respectively. So I still think Williams is on that par. He just didn't get the reps.
I just wonder, like, is he in the coach's doghouse or something? Like, I
think they just got this shiny toy back. You know,
yeah.
I think Aaron Jones came back and they're like, ooh, let's put who else is a running back? Let's not care about this guy.
Yeah, and that's one thing, man, is I want to see them kind of shake it out. But with that kind of production, I don't think you can take the ball out of Aaron Jones's hands until he proves otherwise.
Right.
Now, I will say they're with Matt LaFleur coming back in there. There's a whole year of tape on them. So, like, with that play action, bootleg, rolling out game where they had a lot of big plays last year, I want to see if that continues. You know what I mean?
I mean, he's going to have to get more creative. You know, you're definitely not running the same plays. You know what I mean?
But maybe he has a second level to his offense that we haven't seen yet. So, I want to give him credit for that. But that was them and kind of transitioning along this defense. Huge reason why this team went 13-3. Man, bro.
I enjoyed watching them play last year. Like, I dabbled in the Packers. I was when I was a young fan trying to figure out what team I wanted to play. I was a big Brett Favre fan before we turned out what kind of creep that dude was. But I was a Packers fan, and I enjoyed. I try to keep up with them. You know, every now and then I do like Aaron Rodgers. So many a years they just had to outscore teams. So last year them having a defense was even more fun to watch.
I love a good defense, definitely as much, if not more, than the next man. But that Smith-on-Smith connection, man, you're right. Zadarius Smith is a beast. Preston Smith finally comes over from the Raiders, a great free agent acquisition for them. Rewards them with 12 sacks, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? 12 sacks out the gate.
The best case scenario of a change of scenery you can ask for.
For sure. And, like, it's just – and not only that, man, but, like, talking about a change of scenery, there are guys like that in the league. Preston Smith being one of them. Shaq Barrett, the sack leader in 2019, change of scenery, getting out from under Von Miller and Bradley Chubb, 19 and a half sacks. I mean, these guys are out there, but again, shout to the scouts who are recognizing it, putting a premium on those guys who may not be a starter. But I do love Preston Smith. I think change of scenery, he was a lot happier. You know what I'm saying? He goes to a team that's not Washington.
Right, and that's what helped. That's what I think helped them both out, is they became friends immediately. You know what I mean? Like they're like they almost were that 2-man wrecking crew. Like they always knew where the other was at on the field. It was great.
Yeah, and you can't put a price on chemistry, man. You really can't. God, no. And it's kind of one of those magical things where if it hits, it's just one of those things. But let's not sleep on Kenny Clark too. Obviously, that dude's a great nose tackle. But
it sounds like a football name, Kenny Clark.
It does, doesn't it? But I do love Christian Kirksey. We was talking about him during our AFC, North.
They also have an interesting secondary,
bro. Their secondary, to me, I don't know if this is a hot take, but their secondary could be the best in the league. Yeah, they could be their best, in the league.
King had a coming out party last year. You know,
he did finally, and they were really hoping for it because his rookie year wasn't what they needed it to be.
I mean, I'll take 5 picks from a cornerback any day.
And you should hit if you actually go back and watch his picks. They're handsy. To kind of sum it up. But not only that, Drew. Yeah, but not only that, but they're young, right? Jare Alexander, great pedigree coming out of college. A little undersized, but like you know the common trope where folks are like, oh, well, he plays bigger than his size. Yeah. Jare is that dude.
Yeah, I enjoyed watching him and Savage.
Yes, Darnell Savage. Yeah,
they're both coming along very nicely.
Yep, with Kevin King. Those three are going to be together for a while, folks. Now, if you remember the defenses in Green Bay of the past, defensive backs come out of Green Bay. They come out of Green Bay. I don't know what is in the water up there, but we are also not going to sleep on Adrian Amos. That's my dude. I wanted him down in Tampa. He was a free agent. Decided to go up there, play with Aaron Rodgers. Turned out to be good for him, but this secondary as a back half, they might stick you, man. Like it's gonna be tough sledding if you come up there, and they already play in those elements. So like come the winter, they're not.
They're ready.
They're not.
COVID can't even survive up there. They'll be fine.
Nah, get it out.
You got to think 13-3. That's tough to repeat. You know what I mean? And they got a tough first 4 weeks. Not the second week. I mean Detroit, whatever. But they got Vikings, Saints, Falcons. Yeah. Bye week. Tampa Bay, Houston.
Right.
Whew.
That first 6 games, they do get the bye before they face another 3 teams that potential playoff teams in Tampa Bay, Houston, and Minnesota. 4, and then San Francisco. And 3 of those games are on the road, folks. Like I I just don't know, man. Me personally, talking about the schedule, I do see them. I see them taking a step back. Doubt. Like let's talk about it a little bit. So last year, let's not forget, like for as much as people were down on Detroit, they only beat Detroit twice. They did beat them twice.
Detroit always plays tough, I feel like.
Right, exactly. It's a division game, but they only beat Detroit twice by a total, Drew, of 6 points. Or excuse me, 4 points. Because I want to say they beat them 23-22 on a last-second field goal, and then they beat them by a field goal again in the rematch. So they had a lot of games where they just were on the right side of it, man. But I see them falling back to 10-6, Drew. What
I got
you
them
think about
10-6 too. That's
nice,
crazy. Yeah,
nice, lockstep. We did not. We
don't talk about this.
We don't talk about it.
No,
we do not talk
fantastic.
about it. So that's great. That's great, man.
All right. Well, moving along, we got the Minnesota Vikings next.
The Minnesota Vikings.
Kirk Cousins.
Yeah. How do you? Is it cuz I? If it's like a family reunion for them, I don't know.
I'm from the South, man. It's Cousins.
Cousins is. But yeah, so the Minnesota Vikings. Let me just pull up my notes here.
I do like their draft. They had 15 picks in the draft. 15 picks.
That's a lot of picks, man.
How do you keep all those people all those players on the team?
Process of elimination, man. Who's going to show up? Who's going to show up? I mean, anytime you get past maybe the 4th pick, you know what I'm saying? Like maybe if you get past the 4th pick, then it's whoever steps up.
Well, you got to think the 2 first-rounders will make the team. Justin Jefferson from LSU. You know, he's got to take big shoes to fill. Stephon Diggs.
Traded Diggs to the Bills. Lost that first-round pick, but you get Justin Jefferson, who just happened to be there. Speedy guy, needs to do a little bit more of the dirty work, in my opinion. But my favorite pick for them, Jeff Gladney out of TCU, man. I went back and watched his tape. And then I watched this tape again, and gritty corner. I want to say he's like 5'10", 5'11".
I mean, I feel like he got to be.
He's got some
ball
skills, bro.
In the first round, so
he's got some ball skills. Yeah. So, oh no, I'm sorry. Yeah, they did. That's right. They traded him to the Bills for those 2 first-round picks, right? That was what happened.
I think so.
Yeah. So
because we were first round pick.
Yeah. So, but Gladney out of TCU, man, I really like that. Then you come back and you get Ezra Cleveland now out of Boise State. He's a long, lanky guy. The scouts say he has to get a little stronger, but he was also one of those. Well, you're right, one of those top level of tackles, maybe the 3rd tier in the top level.
Gotcha.
But a guy who is probably going to stick. But he's got to put on some weight. He lacks power, but he has speed, plenty of speed, and he plays a premium position too, right? So like that's going to help you out a little bit. Right. But I do like those 3 picks. We'll see how the rest of them shake out.
Little dark horse, KJ Osborne from Miami, wide receiver in the 5th round. He's got some pretty good tape out there, so I wouldn't be surprised if he makes a team, I guess, transitioning into the offense on a team that lost a little bit at the wide receiver position. Yeah,
they did, but I want to see, like, Adam Thielen now has to shoulder the load
guy,
and be.
Man.
Yeah, I
do
love
he's helped
Thielen.
My fantasy team. Mm-hmm.
Not only that, but he's a guy who like came from nowhere. So like, how can you not like his story, right?
Right.
And that's what he was saying.
Some of the best hands in the game, you know.
Yes, he does. And
he's a Minnesota guy. Like he went to a weird college in Minnesota.
Yep, just came
out
of nowhere.
I don't even know how to pronounce it.
Well, that's what he was saying about the preseason. He's like, if the preseason doesn't happen, like guys like me don't get their shot.
Right.
Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean. So that's one thing. Even though like let's just have football. Like I'm not trying to tell you not to have football. Just have football for me. For me. For us.
Little snippet while I was doing my research. Jake Browning is on this team. Do you remember Jake Browning, the quarterback from Washington, who his like sophomore year was like he's going to be a number 1 pick, and then he went undrafted.
Oh yeah.
2016 Pac-12 Player of the Year as sophomore year. His draft stack was so high.
That's crazy.
He winds up on this team.
And they do have Nate Stanley too. The other QB there. He's basically bottom of the roster, but
they got the ghosts of college football past basically, with Sean Mannion.
Sean Mannion too,
they still got Amir Abdullah on the team too. So
right, yeah,
a lot of former studs with high stock.
Yeah,
took a tank.
They do got some interesting pieces here, man. But my biggest question for this offense is, and Drew, you can probably answer this as well. But like, is Kirk Cousins good enough, man? Is he good enough?
I'm not a Kirk Cousins fan.
Me neither.
I don't know if it's his face,
or
him yelling at the camera.
Drew.
Otherwise,
you know what game that was, right? You like that game? That was Tampa Bay.
Oh no! So you hate that dude then?
Yeah, I will never forget Kirk Cousins for that.
Yeah,
never forget Kirk Cousins.
Not a fan.
Mike
man.
Evans, I want to say, had 200 yards in that game, and we lost.
It's all on the defense. He got the contract he got.
Yeah. Now that's one thing he's good at. He is good at finessing. He is great at finessing. How
many years did he play on the franchise tag?
Like 2 or 3. I want to say 2. Yeah. Because they couldn't do it a third time.
Okay.
But like maybe it was, I don't know, but it was 2 or 3, man. But I don't think he's good enough at football.
No, I think he's good enough to get you to the playoffs every year. Will never win the big games. And unless they play the Saints, they can't beat anybody else in the NFC playoffs.
Yeah, yeah, and they just match up well. Or Mike Zimmer. And the refs, but Mike Zimmer has their number. You know what I'm saying? Which excuse me, just edit that out, Drew, because I don't want to give anything to Saints fans, and you know why, Saints fans. You know why. But no, so Dalvin Cook, man, I love Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook was the OJ Howard draft, and this is a sticking point for Bucs fans because we took OJ Howard, who still hasn't lived up to his draft status when Dalvin Cook was sitting right there. Yeah, what'd you say?
You mean Rob Gronkowski's backup?
Basically. Yeah. So he better step it up this year, man.
Man, if y'all had Dalvin Cook, it just wouldn't even be fair.
Right? And that still is a thorn in the side of Bucs fans. But anyway, Dalvin Cook, he can be the elite back if he can just stay healthy, man. Like, I want him to stay healthy.
I think Kyle Rudolph's got to step up this year to help with that young wide receiver core.
He does.
He's got to be Kurt's safety valve.
Well, not only that, so getting to him in a second, man, but Dalvin Cook had 1,600 all-purpose yards, 13 TDs. He only played 14 games, so he's got to stay healthy. Now, moving on to the right, exactly. Moving on to the tight ends, Drew, you're right. Rudolph has to step up, but I don't know if he gets that chance because Irv Smith stepped up, man, like big last year, and they're kind of phasing him out a little bit. You know what I mean? Like,
I definitely think this is going to be a fight for your job year for Rudolph.
Yep. So what do they do now? Because they still want to elevate Irv Smith, but you just paid Kyle Rudolph a couple years ago,
and he had 6 touchdowns for you last year. You know what I mean?
Right.
Not a lot of yards, but he is that guy in the red zone.
Yes, and they need to incorporate both of them because obviously you can make it with two TEs.
I don't know why more teams don't play with that. Like the Patriots laid out the playbook. Like 2 TEs are near unstoppable.
Yep, if you had that kind of athleticism. Right. But it's people trying to overthink, man. It's just overthinking. That's the one thing the NFL does instead of doing what works. And sticking with it, they try to work. Be the next great thing. But so they need to figure out that TE room. The offensive line looks good, but I'm not sure about the right side. You know what I mean?
I don't.
Not sure about the right side.
I'm not gonna lie to you.
Now I do want to one quick note on the offense. They had Kevin Stefanski as their offensive coordinator with Gary Kubiak, right? Yeah. Now Kevin Stefanski is out. It's just Gary Kubiak running the offense, which Mike Zimmer loves because he likes to run the ball, a la Dalvin Cook. So look out for Dalvin Cook having a resurgence, even more of a resurgence, because he's a great back. But what Kubiak likes to do, play action pass balance offense, he makes great running backs. So Drew, let me give you a rundown of Gary Kubiak running backs, right?
Yeah.
Now he has Dalvin Cook now, right? Terrell Davis, Hall of Famer.
Yep.
Clinton Portis.
Ooh,
not a Hall of Famer. I love Clinton Portis, right?
Fan. I loved watching. I was a Miami football fan until they joined the ACC.
Yep. And then just another one on the list, Arian Foster. So this dude, he makes running backs, man. Like he makes running backs. So
I mean, it's not like a stretch. It's not like he's turning.
He's not turning Dalvin Cook into a diamond or anything.
It's like if she's all that, just take the glasses off and let the hair down, and you got a stud running back. You know what I mean?
What a great reference by you. Give it up for Drew, folks. I love that. I love that reference right there, bringing it back to our middle school years. You know what I'm saying, or middle school, early high school, whenever that movie came out. I don't know, but
I don't know.
So moving on to the defense, man. They were middle of the pack in 2019.
They lost that defensive end Griffin.
Yeah,
you know, like.
Yeah.
Barr's on COVID reserve. We'll see if he comes back. Cameron Smith's got a heart condition.
That I didn't know about. But Everson Griffin, he's not Everson Griffin, but the guy who was Anthony Barr, he was reinstated. So he's back now. Okay, he's back now. So he's there. But aside from Danielle Hunter, man, I don't know what you got. Yeah. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know what you got.
That front seven is ugh.
Yeah, it needs.
I mean, don't get me wrong. They got two of the best safeties in the game, Harrison Smith, Anthony Harris.
Yes, sir.
Like that's no problem.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about it. Yep.
Do you have to give up 8 yards on every play until they get to the safeties?
And that's where it could hurt them losing those horses up front, man. Yeah. I don't know if it makes, you talk about a couple of shows ago, but does that make the secondary look worse? In this case, I think it does, man, because you can't cover guys forever. Like you just
if you got to do everything on the field.
These are professional quarterbacks, man, and professional wide receivers and tight ends. They're going to find open spaces in this defense. Now, you do have one of the best defensive minds in the game in Mike Zimmer, right?
Yeah,
that's why you brought him in to be your coach. So I think. That definitely helps them tremendously.
When you finally get fired from Minnesota, Mike, come to Carolina.
Mike, stay where you at. Stay where you at. Win games so you don't come to Carolina. And I don't want that. But now, speaking of the defense, man, I wanted to mention another guy to you, Cam Dantzler. I want to say out of Texas A&M. Yeah, but anyway, this dude is a baller. I love Cam Dantzler. Mississippi State, excuse me. I knew it was one of those like Burgundy schools.
Gotcha, White and Burgundy. They're everywhere in college football.
Exactly. So Mississippi State, this dude's a baller, man. I love that. I love him, and I love their secondary. I love Mike Hughes. I love Jeff Gladney. Harrison Smith and Anthony Harris might be the best safety tandem in the league, man.
I think so.
And Anthony Harris.
They're gonna have to do it all, though. They're gonna have to get every ounce of talent out.
Good for them being the last line of defense in that case, right?
Right.
Those
guys are good, but
yes. Now I will say this: I think it'll shake out. Like Mike Hughes is your starter there.
You think he'll lose his spot?
No, not at all. But I think they're going to move Jeff Gladney, and depending on the matchup, right? I think Gladney moves to the slot. Cam Dantzler moves to the outside.
Who plays your nickel corner here?
Yeah, I think it'll be either Gladney, could be Hughes, but it'll be interchangeable depending on matchup because Cam Dantzler is a taller guy.
Okay, so he needs to be on the outside.
Right, he needs to be on the outside. He's not going to do well in the slot unless it's like a tight end there. Maybe he can move to the slot there. Okay. But why not just move a safety down there? You know what I'm saying?
Right. When you got those two, why not?
Exactly. But that secondary nails. I love it. I love the secondary.
Well, they went 10-6 last year, made the playoffs.
Yes,
they
did. See
them in 2020.
So, looking at their schedule, man, like they went 10-6. I don't. Weirdly enough, like it for as down as we are on them in certain spots, honestly, I still see them going 9-7. I still see them going 9-7, and the reason why is because it helps to have Chicago and Detroit in your division. Okay. That's that's a couple games right there where they should be the favorite. They should win. I mean, on paper, but the NFL is a fickle beast, man. So it just kind of depends, but it definitely helps to have them. I think they go 9-7. Drew, what you got?
Man, this is ridiculous because I have 9-7 as well.
2 for 2, folks.
2 for 2.
2 for 2.
2 for 2.
We're the best friends. I love it.
I got them 9-7, taking a step back. I mean, you'll see a common theme here. I unfortunately think everyone in this division, not to give too much away, takes a step back.
Okay, I got you.
Do not think that they get. It's going to be a stretch to see if they get 2 teams out this year.
Yeah, because they had it last
does
year.
9-7 get you in the playoffs in the NFC this year? I mean, you do have that extra spot, but
I really think it's going to have to be 10 plus, man. It's going to have to be 10 plus.
I mean, there's a lot of good second teams. You know, like you got your clear cut favorites in the division, but a lot of those second teams are really good too.
And you want to like that's the crazy thing, man. Is the NFC is so stacked with teams, but like it honestly, like in my opinion, it sucks for the fans because you get a great season from your team, and then if they go 10-6 and then they don't make the playoffs, man. Like which is part of the reason why they expanded it.
Yeah, how many times we were upset that NFC East was going to make the playoffs at 8-8 or 7-9?
Exactly.
I mean, I can't say anything. The Panthers made the playoffs at 7-8-1.
Yeah, they did. I was hot that season because the whole NFC South, like the Bucks were still in at that point when they had like 4 or 5 wins, and I was like, it's bad.
Yeah, it's bad.
Right.
Well, speaking of it's bad. Next up, Chicago.
The Chicago Bears. The Bears. Yeah.
That draft, man. Like you put a lot of pressure on the QB situation. You didn't really help them out.
Not at all. And then you draft a tight end. You draft a security blanket. Arguably the best tight end in the draft, Cole Kmet out of Notre Dame.
Yeah, I'm excited about him, but I mean,
I do think he'll
Chicago,
do work.
So,
right, exactly. Now, weirdly enough, man, which we'll get to their schedule. I ain't even gonna mention it, but now you have Cole Kmet. Now they did some revamping, Drew. So they add Jimmy Graham from the Packers in the division. He was a shell of himself in 2019, but I still think
was that Green Bay's fault, or is he regressing?
I think it's a little of both because he's kind of bounced around since, you know what I mean. And
I don't think he'll ever get back to the New Orleans days. But
no, I don't. It was just something special. I hated Jimmy Graham when he was in New Orleans.
I did too, man.
But so you lose Amuka Mara, you lose Clinton Dix, and you lose Kentrell Bryce, but you bring in Jimmy Graham, Nick Foles, Robert Quinn, who
I'm excited.
Dallas didn't want to play. Yep. You also bring in Teddy Ginn, speedy guy.
But
always.
Does he have anything left? Like, for a man that relies solely on speed, does he have anything left?
Well, see, that's weirdly enough, man, in this day and age, it seems like speed for those top-level guys is still, even though they lose it, they're losing it later on than people thought they would, but it's still faster than a lot of the guys in the NFL.
T.O.'s still showing it out, So
4-4, man. 4-4 for T.O.
Oof.
Come on, man.
Oof.
Jesus Christ.
Brutal,
and this dude's in his 50s. Like, bro, I saw that and that was ridiculous, man. Shout out to T.O., man. I couldn't believe it. I
can because the dude's fast. But
and not only that, but he's still cut up. Like
him and Ocho Cinco.
Yeah.
Oh, man, did you see the treadmill running? He got up to like 24 miles an hour on the treadmill.
Yeah, those dudes, like, and Ocho Cinco had to call it a career because it was some off-the-field stuff. But I really think, like, if you really needed them to come back and play, they would come back and play. And
no doubt.
They could do it.
Maybe The Rock will talk them into playing in the XFL.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome.
Turn it into more of like a big three, like all the old retired players.
That'd be dope as hell, man. I didn't even think about that. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Sign me up, man. But anyway, back to the Bears, man. But okay, so let's dive into this a little bit, Drew, man. So you got the trash quarterback from your Carolina Tar Heels,
Dude, we don't
Mitchell
claim him
Trubisky.
anymore.
I wouldn't either, man. I wouldn't either. College. Oh no, he was a high school guy.
Yeah, he went straight out of high school. Only player to ever do it.
I mean, the
he
LeBron
only played
James.
one season in high school.
Oh wow, man, he must have been great.
13 games.
But they bring in Nick Foles. Now, does Trubisky play all 16?
I was gonna say, gun to your head right now. Who's the Bears QB Week 1, 2020?
Trubisky. Week 1, Trubisky. I don't think they can make
16?
that much of a move that early without having a reason, because they, like, for as much flack as they have taken, they still need to justify that pick, right?
Oh,
and that
no
was
doubt.
one. Yeah, and that was
like,
one
as good
where,
as the other quarterbacks have turned out, they got to.
They have
to
justify.
I think they kind of. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I think they half did it here though, bringing in Nick Foles for the competition. Like, to me, Nick Foles is a definition of a system quarterback. He won in Philly.
Yes,
he has not won anywhere else.
Yes, and I think, but you can get that magic though. You know what I mean? If you do what Nick Foles does best, then you can get some magic from him. But it has to be right. And what that is, I don't have the answer for you.
I think they're screwed either way. I think Mitchell Trubisky never turns out to be the quarterback they want him to, and I think Nick Foles never returns to being the quarterback that they want him to.
I can see both, and then they're back to the drawing board. But the last little note, which we'll kind of get into the offense, but it is a defensive note. Defensive tackle Eddie Goldman opted out. Man, that is
that hurts.
Big loss. That is a big loss. And then hurts. Not only that, but Kyle Long retired. Another note, and then they get rid of Leonard Floyd, who was an underperformer. So, launch that guy. But
talk about this seems to be a theme in this division, that running back duo.
Bro, David Montgomery, man. Oh, I tried to snatch it. I tried to snatch him in fantasy, man. I really did. It was you.
I had Montgomery and Singletary. Those are my two running backs.
Can you see my face? Because I am shaking my head at you, sir. Shaking my head at you. But, I mean, David Montgomery and Tariq Cohen, man, they're ballers. They're ballers. Shout to NCA&T, baby.
Just go ahead and turn Cohen into a slot receiver and let him do work.
He can do it. And then you get both of them on the field at the same time.
That's what I was about to say. Why are you not having both these guys?
I don't know, man. I really don't know. It's like they're in I think their coach is an offensive guy. Like, he should be able to figure that out.
Because, it's not like you got better options at wide receiver.
Right, exactly. And then, let's talk about it. So, I don't know what you get. They don't even know what to do with Allen Robinson, man. They don't know.
No one does. He's a great talent, but has not stuck somewhere.
No, and they don't know if they want to pay him, or they haven't offered him a contract. I went down the rabbit hole trying to find out the latest information to see if they had offered him a contract, and I still don't think they have.
They got to pay him though. 1,100 yards, 7 touchdowns.
Yeah. Now
he was your receiving core last year.
He was. And I want to say he is under contract for just this year, but nothing past this year.
He'll be he'll be some Cowboy or Giant or some crazy.
Yeah, maybe they're using him as they're going to trade him if the season kind of tanks, and they can you know what? Let's follow that timeline out. So if they don't pay him, I predict that they will use him as a trade chip. $11 million, right? I want to say it's 10, 11 million. It's not not really bad for a wide receiver money, right? So you might be able to trade him.
I'd pay that for the numbers.
Right. You might be able to trade him, and then you get more draft capital to move up and get your quarterback in 2021. I could definitely see that being the case for them. But getting back to the wide receiver, Anthony Miller's got to step up. I love Anthony Miller, but he's got to, 1, be healthy, and 2, he's got to step up.
Gotcha.
He's got to step up. But Ted Ginn, speed guy, and then you got Riley Ridley as well. So it looks okay, but I don't know what you get, Drew. What you think?
I think another team, we just talked about it, that needs to incorporate the 2 tight end set, man. Like, throw it. Yeah. You spend your top draft pick on Kemet, and you got Graham. Just go for it, man. Like I said, keep these wide receivers off the field. Put Cohen in the slot, 2 tight end sets. Just.
Yeah, and I think that now maybe that's what they're going to...
I guess you can't have the slot with the 2 tight ends, but put Cohen on one of the outside.
Put a tight end wherever you want them. Yeah, if that's what your matchup dictates, why not, man? Why limit yourself? Get your best players on the field.
Yeah.
Get your best players. I don't care how you got to do it.
Those are your best players, or your tight ends and your running backs, and Allen Robinson.
So
just throw those guys out there.
Their offensive line, man. I'm gonna just say it. They're average AF. You know what I'm saying? Like, with the exception of Cody Whitehair and James Daniels, they've got to protect better to have the kind of season that I think they want to have there in Chicago. Right. But Massey and Leno Jr., they did not get it done in 2019, and I don't know if they can get back. It remains to be seen. But fair. You do bring in a Fetty, so maybe there's a little bump, but I mean, still, I don't know what you got. So
yeah, that offense is tough.
Suspect.
But you still have one of the scariest men on their defense with Khalil Mack.
Yes, you do. So Khalil Mack he's gonna give you Pro Bowl, All Pro, all the time. No doubt. All the time. And he can change a game. So I definitely say they get one win. At least one win off the strength of Khalil Mack alone.
And then another win with him teaming up with Robert Quinn now.
Yes. So you do have Robert Quinn now, and I think that definitely helps. Now, I don't know, aside from Akeem Hicks, right? I don't know what you have.
I think he's a great player.
Great player.
He's a nice compliment to Mack.
That's what happens when you lose Goldman, though, because him that defense was. They were lights out at times with him, Goldman, and Hicks together. Yeah. And then with that linebacking core, that's what I want to talk about. Mack, Danny Trevathan, and Robert Quinn right there, right? Good. But Roquan Smith has not lived up to the billing, right? He has not lived up to the billing. So
I thought they were going to cut him, to be honest with you, because they cleaned house a little bit this year.
They just drafted him. So they just drafted him. Now, I will tell you this. Now, he was the first linebacker taken in that draft. So, Drew, we talked about the running backs earlier. Let me give you the list of the linebackers that were taken after him, right? Okay. Taken after him. Leighton Vander Esch. Fred Warner, Super Bowl champ, not Super Bowl champ, but Super Bowl runner-up, linebacker Fred Warner, Shaquem Griffin, and Tremaine Edmonds, all taken after Roquan Smith.
Dude, why did their GM get fired?
No, he did not. I don't think Ryan Pace. Yeah, Ryan Pace.
That's two swing and misses right there. You know what I mean? Like, third strike, you're out if this Nick Foles thing doesn't work out. But
Roquan was that guy from Georgia, right? Like,
you do got to give him a year. You know, we've talked about this before. You do got to give him that grace period of a year.
Sure.
Now your feet's to the fire. Can you play in the NFL?
Yeah, and I mean, I think he can get back. Now, if he can get back to what you thought you were going to get from him, that linebacking core is elite, man.
Yeah,
it's elite. And I've always liked Danny Trevathan, even when he was back in Denver. I really liked him.
Yeah.
But with those four, and then with the four behind them, I think you can do some damage. But they gotta.
Jackson, Fuller,
I don't know what you get from.
Those are good. They were 8-8 in 2019 with Trubisky being Trubisky.
Right.
What do you see in them in 2020?
So, I mean, I would say they were 8-8 for as many faults as they had. They were still 8-8. So that's that's defense. That's making plays, I guess, when you need to make them. But 8-8 in 2019. This particular schedule, man, 6-10. That's what I got.
Okay, 6-10.
Yeah, I got 6-10.
I got 4-12.
Yeah.
I think with the QB controversy and these coaches not looking like they can handle this situation, I think they're going to continuously mess it up all year.
Okay.
I think they're going to pull Trubisky too early. I think Foles is going to have some bad games. Okay. I see 4-12.
If they have that kind of season, I can see them getting rid of the coach, man. And the GM, they might clean house. Yeah, they might clean house. Yeah, because they can't do that. Or maybe now, talking about the defense, they have Chuck Pagano as their defensive coordinator. So like if it goes bad, you just elevate Pagano, like, and let him ride the season out. You know what I mean? So like people play for Pagano.
Very good in Indianapolis.
Exactly. But 6-10, you got 4-12. That's a huge step back, man. I'm very interested to see how it shakes out now, because that's a big step from 8-8. That deserves the house cleaning if they happen to get 4 wins in 2020. No doubt. Yep.
Well, another team that had a rough go at it. We got last but not least, or maybe they are least. I don't know.
Ooh.
The Detroit Lions. Yeah. Sorry, Alex Hofford. I know you're a Lions fan. I appreciate you.
Yeah. Breaking news: they're gonna bring back Calvin Johnson. So. I'm kidding.
I would love to see that.
I would love to see it, man. Calvin Johnson, Hall of Famer, gone too early.
Dude, we were deprived. I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
But we were deprived.
Yeah.
But they did get one of my favorite players in the draft, Jeff Okudah, the cornerback from Ohio State.
Baller.
I watched his story, and I fell in love with the guy.
That dude is a cover corner, man. He is a do-it-all corner. He's the prototype, man. Like, I really think that dude's gonna be lights out. And then you lose Darius Slay, and then you get Jeff Okudah. Now, Jeff Okudah is not Darius Slay, but you
kind of don't want him to be.
Right. Well, true with all the stuff that went on there, I really think you got a guy who is going to be with your team for quite some time, and he is going to be a damn good player. So,
and then you're going to trade him away because he's tired of playing for Detroit.
It happens. The future is foretold, man. It's already going to happen. It's already going to happen. But
the path has been laid out for you.
Exactly. But they come back in the second round and get DeAndre Swift.
I enjoyed watching that dude play.
Another good
football,
player.
Man.
Another good player, man. Yeah. So
I just don't want another Detroit running back to get ruined.
Yeah. I mean, and they've had some swings and misses in Detroit, man. Like they draft them high pedigree guys, and then they just fall flat, man. I don't know why, but it just happens. Now, just a couple of notes, man. I honestly, like, they lose Mike Daniels, Ashawn Robinson, and Snacks Harrison. So
Snacks. That's my
you're,
dude,
bro.
He stole my nickname.
That is the football name for a defensive tackle. Snacks, like
forever be one of my favorite players
for sure. Just off the name alone,
yeah.
But total D-line rebuild because you bring in Danny Shelton and Nick Williams, right?
Yeah. Yep.
But other than that, man, I do want to mention Julian Okwara too. That dude's. And he's playing with his brother too. But that dude looks like a player from out of Notre Dame, man. Like I really liked his tape. So that's three good draft picks right there.
I want to shout out Quintez Cephas, the wide receiver from Wisconsin. Almost had 1,000 yards last year.
Okay.
So he's someone to watch. See if he can sneak
especially
on the roster.
out of Wisconsin because they're a running team. You know they are.
Right.
So they don't really have
900 something yards.
Like
yep. I'll get.
Okay. But they're. Go ahead.
Yeah, how do you feel about this offense?
I love Matt Stafford, man. I'm a big Matt Stafford fan. Positive test, no positive test, whatever. But I am a big Matt Stafford fan. He throws for a lot of yards. He just hasn't had a team around him to be great, man. And he will go down as one of Detroit's best players of all time, I think. But he just never had.
I wish we could have seen
front office
him,
or the team around him.
Yeah, I wish we could have seen him on a better team.
For sure, because I've always liked Matt Stafford. I like Georgia players, man. I like Georgia players.
I do too.
But
will he play? Will he bounce back this year?
I think so because his skill position they could be dangerous, man. Like we got Stafford, right? Galladay is a damn good receiver. Kenny Galladay is a damn good receiver. A lot of guys really liked him coming out, and he has lived up to every expectation. Marvin Jones, a great number 2, can get it done with Danny Amendola in the slot, and then T.J. Hawkinson and Jesse James in your tight end room, right? So I really, really like what their skill position can do for you if you can get it going. Now the offensive line's got to block. Now Taylor Decker and Frank Ragnow, I know what you're getting, and they bring in Vitae, but Vitae has been known to get beat. I can't remember if it's necessarily speed rushes or power rushes, but he cannot do one of the two, right? So I want to see him earn that big contract and really kind of step it up. But the offensive line will really, they'll kind of make this team go, because if you don't have time to pass, then you're not going to be able to get the ball to your weapons. You're not going to open up holes for these running backs. And they still do have Kerryon Johnson and Bo Scarborough, so I like that running back room too, man. But the offensive line's got to do it, bro. They got to do it.
Yeah.
I do love Frank Ragnow, though. Great.
And I do think Hawkinson's set for a big year. If Stafford's back.
Yep. And he had that. I think he had that big game 1, and then maybe got injured or something. But I do like T.J. Hawkinson.
He only played, he played 12 games, so he wasn't that injured, but he only had 367 yards.
Right. They couldn't figure out a way to kind of really get him involved. There has to be something else there that I'm not, seeing.
Maybe he couldn't pick it up first year, and maybe he had trouble with the routes and the play.
The adjustment's real, bro. That adjustment's real.
But there's also been some questions about Matt Patricia's leadership. So, he might not have fit in with the scheme. Moving on to Matt Patricia's a defensive guy.
Yeah.
For a defensive guy, this defense has been rough the last few years.
You hit the nail on the head, man. I don't know. I think Matt Patricia's out after this year, man. Because he's
got to be.
I've seen article after article after article saying that you got rid of a guy in Jim Caldwell who took you to the playoffs twice. I want to say he either went 9-7 or 10-6 in his last year.
He's the only guy that's given Detroit fans hope. In the last few years,
and then
rid of that guy?
And then not only that, but he came in and people were like, this is a wash. We ain't gonna do anything. And then he just makes your team better. You get rid of him. Whatever, man. But
I do love this cornerback duo on paper.
Yes,
I know Okudah hadn't played yet, but it looks like it's going to be a pretty good secondary.
Yeah, I really like Trufant. We got to see a lot of him in Atlanta, and Jeff Okudah, which I know what you got there. So I like their corners. I'm not sure what you get from the safety group per se, but I do like their corners. What I do like is also I like their linebackers, man. You bring in Jamie Collins, right? You have Trey Flowers there. Which is not, he plays edge, but and then you also had Jared Davis.
He led the team in sacks last year.
Yes, so Jared Davis has to step up, because I don't think they exercise his 5th-year option, and that ain't good. So
right, like it's make or break year.
Right, and then you also have Reggie Ragland. So I do like their linebackers, but you get more, which I know Detroit fans are tired of hearing this, man, but more of the Patriot connections with Trey Flowers and Jamie Collins. Yep. But I mean, that's what he feels like he needs to win. At some point, you got to make your own
identity. Sure, you know what I mean? Like step out of Belichick's shadow and be your own coach. Like,
yeah, and I feel like that's where a lot of
like a grown
Belichick
man.
Coaches falter, man, is they just keep trying to recreate that magic, and you can't create GOAT status, man.
You got to take it. Yes. You got to be like Belichick and take, like, he took a little, Parcells. He took a little bit of the other coaches he worked with, like, and he made his own thing up. Don't be a carbon copy. I say that from my, dining room table is to be a successful NFL coach.
Right, exactly. I mean, that's all we are as armchair quarterbacks, man. That's what we're here to do. So I think that's what we're giving the people what they want. But yeah, I'm with you, man. I don't think this team gets it done, man. Kind of moving on to their schedule.
Are they better than 3-12-1? But before you answer that, I got to read my boy Alex Hofford. I mentioned him earlier. I asked him to send me his season prediction. So I think my boys are going to sneak into a wild card spot with a 10-6 record. They will have a hard time with the NFC South. They should win against Carolina and New Orleans, but Tampa Bay and Atlanta will be tough. They will split the series with Green Bay and Minnesota and easily take Chicago twice. Hard matchups with Arizona, Houston, and Tennessee.
Okay. That's a true fan right there.
I hear you, man.
That's a true fan. That's a little ambitious for my I would put my money on that. But unfortunately, man, for me, I got 2-14, man. I got 2-14. Bad team.
I have 3-13.
Okay. So they just dropped the tie. They actually lose that game, not tie it.
Yep. I think I'm going out on a limb here. The Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes comes down to 3 teams. Mm-hmm. Jacksonville, Washington, and Detroit.
Where's his best fit, in your opinion?
Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Because they're going to start building that team up from the ground, and you get your young quarterback.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I think if he goes to Detroit, we get another Matt Stafford.
Yeah.
Like, no. I have no qualms with Matt Stafford. Think he's a great quarterback, but what has he really accomplished?
Well, and that's the thing. Like, and maybe it plays out the way, like, maybe Detroit's in position, and like we were talking about earlier, if you're in position to draft him, you kind of have to draft him, but maybe that's what Matt Stafford needs, is to get out of Detroit. So maybe it winds up helping everybody if they actually do get him.
Maybe Stafford goes to, Rivera's Washington team and has a great couple of years and gets him back to glory.
That'd be interesting to see that timeline or that timeline kind of play out, to see the fallout from if Detroit is in that position.
To another team.
Yeah.
But I just want to see what he can do.
I really don't see it for him, man. But so top to bottom, what you got for your final standings for the NFC North?
Man, I think it's exactly like last year. I think it's Green Bay, Minnesota, Chicago, Detroit.
That's the way it shakes out for me too, man. Somebody's got to win this division, and even
it's the first time we've agreed.
Yeah, I think so.
Completely, from top to
lockstep. But somebody's got to win this division, man, and I just don't see it not being.
How lucky is Green Bay? You get worse and you still win the division.
Yeah, it's just, but they are getting worse at the right time for them because everybody else is getting worse too. So it's like,
not a good division.
Nah, not at all, man. But
I could see Minnesota sneaking into that playoff spot again like they did last year.
Okay, yeah, I could.
It all depends on how that wide receiver
if they get hot, yeah.
Put Jake Browning in. Get rid of Kirk Cousins. Put Jake Browning in. We'll see a whole new game.
I think if Kirk Cousins does not have that great year, man, I think he is done, bro. Like, I think he's done in Minnesota. They'll figure out a way to get him. Because
they might have to eat some of his money.
Yeah, what are you doing with that? I mean, you traded for him, you got him there, you paid him. I mean, and he can't bring you over the top. Now,
he can't win.
They have a level there that if you're trying, like, just getting to the playoffs ain't it, man. If you consistently get to the playoffs, you have to take the team to the next level, and if you can't do that, you gotta go.
So no, I agree with you completely. So that's our
that's it. That's the NFC
North. Next week, we usually have been doing AFC, NFC. Mm-hmm. But we got to save that NFC South for last.
So we got
the AFC South next week.
AFC South.
Texans, Titans, Colts, Jaguars, another interesting division I'm excited about.
Yeah, I'm excited to really dive into the Texans, man. I like the Texans. I like Deshaun Watson.
I'm excited
Tennessee,
about the Titans.
Yes, Tennessee was
I live in Tennessee
a team
now.
who,
I'm excited about the Titans.
Yeah, and not only that, man, but like they just shocked everybody and just started bludgeoning teams down there. And then it's like Ryan Tannehill had a resurgence, and I mean
Derrick Henry established himself as one of the best
runners. Yes, so
and he got paid.
He just got paid. Yeah. So very interesting division. I want to see what Jacksonville is kind of doing to elevate themselves.
You got to stay with the times. And I mean, crazy wild card, Phillip Rivers is in Indianapolis now.
Yeah. So what does that look like?
I can't wait to see him and T.Y. Hilton.
That's going to be very interesting.
Yeah.
He's got to keep those interceptions down, but maybe without all the kids around, man, he might be able to focus. So
does the whole squad, do all 27 Rivers kids move with him to Indianapolis?
I don't know, but I did hear an interesting joke. Is they said there was never any doubt that Phillip Rivers was going to opt out of the season, because when have you known Phillip Rivers to pull out of anything? So
pull out game week.
But yeah, so I'm excited, man, next week. Cool. Just continue to stick with us, man.
Sweet. Where can they find you
at the Kid Sus on Twitter, and of course at nickel_Dom Football on IG. We'll have some questions for you and a lot of content, just like we've been doing, man. Drew's putting in work, I'm putting in work, so
hit us up.
Hit us up.
We see you, Leighton Barber. We haven't forgotten
yes, sir.
About you.
Yes, sir. Shout to Leighton. Shout to Leighton,
football.
Man. Yeah.
He graduated. He was an offensive lineman for UNC.
Hey, I like it. I like it.
Yeah, but hit me up on Instagram. At Laugh with Harrison, DrewHarrisonComedy.com. Got all the past episodes. Make sure you hit that subscribe button.
Exactly, like and subscribe.
When the season hits, we got some fun things planned for you. So
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Out.
We'll see you next week.